June 4th, 2011. Hello again. Why do the Republicans have to constantly shame all of those who vote for them? Why are they such crappy politicians? Why do these guys embarrass me every time they open up their mouths? How many more times are they going to allow this president and the Democrat Party to hijack the Republican agenda? Is the agenda still the agenda that they said it was way back when, leading up to November 2010 and the midterm election, when the new crew of Republicans won the House? Have the House Republicans not yet caught on? Don't they notice this pattern? This president does not like the way things are going on Capitol Hill. Whenever that happens, he summons the Republicans to the White House to have a summit, as if the Republicans were some sort of enemy nation and not just another branch of government. The Republicans obediently, because you have to have respect for the office of president, obliged to obey him. They're almost apologetic about feeling how they feel and believing what they believe, and that they have such a bunch of bitter clingers to our guns and our God as their, embarrassing redneck constituents. And so they are even a little scared, trembling, to be in his mere presence of the king, the Pharaoh of the 44th. They all file on the bus. It takes them from the Capitol building down Pennsylvania Avenue to Obama's place. The White House. Like a bunch of prisoners being carried away to their extermination at the gas chamber. His Majesty discusses with them something we can suppose for, 75 whole minutes, which must have, been a real inconvenience for him. Never mind the fact it probably took 75 minutes for all them Republicans to get on that bus and ride down the road, and then it probably took another 75 minutes standing around answering reporters' questions at the White House, and it took another 75 minutes to go back to where they belong on Capitol Hill, where they should have called him to, doing the reverse. But that wouldn't have been respectful for the office. So, let's see, the president was inconvenienced for an hour and a half, or an hour and 15 minutes on his call. It was his idea. So, it's just a game to him. The Republicans, they blew 5 hours. You might as well say the whole day was shot. There wasn't one picture taken at this thing. There was one picture taken. Let me show it to you. Apparently, this one shot, we were told by Fox News that it was taken on some congressman's cell phone. It looks like a very sharp, high-quality photo to have been taken with a cell phone camera, so I wonder why they had to even tell us that. I guess that's just an aside, and there's not much use dwelling on it, except for the fact that a picture paints 1,000 words, so what can I paint you? Suffice to say that, here goes. Unlike most pictures of people sitting around a table with this president, I noticed that these sort of photos usually tend to show everybody in the room looking at him, longingly, admiringly. Most of the time they appear to be listening intently, while his mouth is open, and he's trying to tell them something, I guess, lying to them probably. His hands in front of him, like he's building some sort of imaginary sandcastle. Or he's like spraying whipped cream on a banana split. Instead, the 1,000 words that this picture says to me is, because I see that someone else is talking. The president, seated at his usual spot, the center of attention, for the most inexperienced man in the room, and in any other room that this man walks into, and that he has ever walked into. He's not looking at the camera. Indeed, he appears to be hiding his face from the camera, covering his face even using his hands propped up on his elbows to cover up his face. And the body language I infer from this position reminds me of a kid in school. He's bored with the lesson, he's not really listening, and he probably has to pee. Do you think I'm reading too much into that? Okay, how about this? The president is obviously unmoving, unswerving, unnerved regarding his position. Wants to appear unnerved anyway. It doesn't matter what they're saying to him, he's turned a deaf ear to them, so to speak. That's number one. Number two, he knows this picture's being taken. He's probably aware of it. He knows where all the cameras are and plays to them, and I think he's playing to it now. Doesn't matter what he's saying, what they're saying to him, he's not listening. I just said that. Number two, he can't look you in the eye. That's why he's got his hands up in front of his face and he's looking away. And he's so bored with this, and he knows that he was going to be bored with it. He isn't there to listen to anybody. It was just his idea to call everybody together to waste time. He didn't really have anything to say to the Republicans. There was no intent to come to any kind of collective bargaining, for lack of a better term. He wasn't going to be bipartisan, for lack of a better term. He wasn't going to compromise, for lack of a better term, because you always have to be bipartisan, and you have to always compromise with him. See, it doesn't go the other way around. Democrats. Just look at Charles Schumer the other day. He said that the only way we could talk about anything was for the Republicans to completely abandon Paul Ryan's budget plan. Completely abandon it. That was the only way that the Democrats were going to come around, which really means that they're not coming around. You have to come around to them, see. So this was just really a photo op for the president. I believe I probably said 1,000 words on that picture. It was another chance to show all his useful idiots in TV land, you know, you and me, just how he is able to handle these sucker Republicans. Give them the old, you know, Lucy and Charlie Brown and the football treatment, you know, where she positions the football with the bottom tip on the ground and he's holding the top tip or the tip top or whatever you want to call it of the ball with one pointed finger coaxing Charlie Brown. Kick the ball, Charlie Brown. I won't pull it away this time, I promise. And then Charlie Brown comes running up and tries to kick the ball, and Lucy yanks the ball out of the way. And, you know, Charlie Brown kicks for all he's worth, and he misses, and he does a backward somersault in the air, and he lands on his ass. Again. See, that's Obama is Lucy. And the Republicans are Charlie Brown. And he's done it again. You know, Paul Ryan, afterwards, this whole shindig, Paul Ryan briefs the press in a location, looks like it's the driveway of the White House. Probably waiting to get back on the cattle car. I mean, the bus. The president, I guess, nowhere to be found, probably too busy to join them. Ryan said to the press that he wanted the president to know that the political advertisement that you've probably seen, the lady in the wheelchair being pushed off the cliff by a tall, skinny guy in a suit who appeared to resemble Paul Ryan, looked like they were making a conscious effort to resemble a tall, skinny guy with dark hair, you know, a congressman, a Republican. And the commercial was not accurate. That's what Ryan said he wanted to tell the president. He said he thought it was important to let the president know that the Republicans really had no intention of pushing anybody off a cliff. He said he had to let the president know that the ad was just somebody making up stuff, mean stuff about Republicans, and, you know, don't worry, Mr. President, it's not true, in case you didn't know. Mr. President, sir. Republicans really think that the president will somehow pull the strings to get the ad off TV. And if so, well, I suppose the president is keeping one of his campaign promises, isn't he? The promise of hope. He does have all these Republicans hoping he's going to deal straight with them. Come on, Charlie Brown Republicans, stop being such suckers, will you? You know, at the end of the day, it amounts to one more wasted day that you had a chance to implement your agenda, grab the bull by the horns, go on offense. And the president, you allowed him to waste your time one more time, one more day. And the Democrats and their media stooges all know fully well you only got a matter of days, literally, you guys, you Republicans. You got under 2 short years, and they're already a quarter over almost. They're a quarter over. So they're all got it all figured out. They're going to take up all your time. And you're going to let them, it looks like. the entire media, and conservative talk radio shows included, they just always allow themselves to be consumed by the presidential candidates and the race, man. The shows are always about president, 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 president. Who's going to be the next president? Let's talk to this guy. He wants to be president. Talk to her. She wants to be president. Let's talk about who used to be a good president and who used to be a bad president. President, president, president. And it never was meant to be that way in this country. The Constitution makes it for the president not to really be that important of a guy that everybody leans on. We're not a nation, you know, you've heard it said, we're not a nation of, we're a nation of laws. We're not a nation of men. A man doesn't save you. The Constitution saves you, and you save the Constitution. That's why you're conservative, because you're trying to save it. You're trying to be just like it is, you know, as stable and unchanging as possible. And change it as little as possible and follow the rules in order to change it, so that the mankind has individual power and freedom and liberty. You don't have one man ruling everybody. But, you know, getting back to the president thing, you know, the presidential election is as far away as your guys' election or re-election or getting kicked out. That's how much time you have to run your agenda. Okay, the same amount of time as before we see another president or Obama gets reelected. It seems a long period of time when you're talking about a presidential campaign. Okay, it's a long time to make the people suffer and talk about who's going to be the next president. But it's a very short time for you guys to get something done, you Republicans in the House. It's a very short time for that. And you have to seize power, and you have to take control regardless of the media and what the Democrats say about you. Learn from Obama and the Democrats. Marginalize them. Just push your agenda. No matter what they say, they make commercials of you pushing a lady off a cliff. That's a lie. The fact is that it is them that have they're pushing the old people off the cliff. They not only didn't make a budget last year, and they're forcing you to look like assholes for not wanting to, you know, pay for every little thing that they didn't already figure out a way to pay for last year with their debt crisis and their debt ceiling raising and their you know, shutting the government down, vote yes or no. They're trying to make you look bad for the bad things that they did last year. It's like you inherited a bad Congress from them. Why don't I hear any of them say that? I mean, the president's been allowed to say 150,000 times he inherited a bad frickin' situation. How come you can't say you inherited a bad situation? Furthermore, you should elaborate that not only have they not provided for Medicare for the elderly now, their health plan that will take, you know, won't begin to take effect until after Obama gets reelected next year. It won't start to take effect till 2013. Then Grandma really gets thrown off the cliff. Okay? And you know it. It won't be just one granny in a wheelchair. It'll be a whole dump truck of grannies going off the cliff. And you need to tell the people that. Alright. That's it for now. It's getting down to the wire here.